All right, here we are. Hey, it's Kate Payne here from Standing Out Online, and we are actually doing Coffee with Kate, my first Coffee with Kate with me and Viv on LinkedIn Live, which I just got approved for last week. So I think I
feel like it's
mug like
scam because my coffee is actually in here.
I think that I shipped you that mug like 2 years ago, right?
I know. I think so. I think so.
Well, anyway, I just got a notification that we're going live on LinkedIn. So I just want to let everybody know, first of all, thank you for being here if you're on live, but most of you will probably be seeing us on replay.
Yes.
And so a little bit of housekeeping. LinkedIn Live does not allow me to see your comments. So if you see me looking off to the side, it's because I'm looking on my phone and trying to see the comments. We're also streaming to Facebook Live. Those comments should be showing up in the broadcast studio here in StreamYard. So if for some reason I don't shout out to you, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because technical just things. And LinkedIn doesn't have the ability to do some of these things yet, which I just found out today. So it's great to be on LinkedIn Live. You get some comments. So anyway, we're here with my really dear friend, my mentor, my LinkedIn mentor, Viveka von Rosen. We've known each other now since we met at Inbound in 2015.
Yeah.
And I can't thank you enough. I actually get emotional because you've done so much for me, and you also became such a good friend. You were one of those people that you feel like you've known for 20 years. And so I also just want to extend my gratitude to you because you have really helped me more than you even know. And so thank you for that. So I would love you to just take a couple of minutes and share your backstory of how you got into LinkedIn. And now you're the Chief Visibility Officer for Vengresso, and tell us a little bit about Vengresso, your company.
Sure. So about 15 years ago, I was running a co-share space. I was really good at managing, and I doubled the business in a year doing face-to-face networking, but I kind of really sucked at managing people. So I focused on what I was good at, which was the networking. And I would bring people in to talk to my entrepreneurs and my small business owners about different ways that they could grow their businesses. And so I brought in my friend, Lori Maycomber, and she was talking about Web 2.0, the idea that the web could be interactive. So that's how long ago it was. Because
oh my God.
Right now we take that for granted. Like, of course the internet is interactive, but back then
I met Lori at your wedding, right?
You did be. Yes. So I just want to put out here that like social media friends are real friends, because I would say at least half the people on my side of the wedding were connections through social media. So yeah, A, you can get married after 50, and B,
yes, you can on a ranch.
Right, exactly. And social media friends are, in fact, real friends. So anyway, Lori was talking about Web 2.0. And at the very end of her presentation, she mentioned this thing called LinkedIn. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. The fact that you can create relationships online with, potentially 7 million people, again, showing how long ago it was, because this is before Facebook. I think there was like, what was the name of the dating one? There's Match.com, and then there was the one that all the musicians were on for a while. MySpace.
Oh, yeah.
MySpace.
Wow, we're going way back.
Yeah, way back. So this whole idea of social networking was not actually a thing, but here's LinkedIn, which was like, MySpace for business, or Match.com for business. And I thought, oh, this is really cool. I should learn more about this. At the time, the only person who had a book out was Jason Alba. And so I reached out to him, and he was very gracious, and we started a friendship. And I started teaching and training locally at my co-share space, and, out in the city. And one of the big associations that we were a member of heard that I was doing social media, and they said, LinkedIn, and they said, hey, you want to come to New York City and speak to a bunch of millionaires and billionaires about how to use social media for their business?
I never heard that part before.
Yeah. So it was ABCN. And so I went to New York City, the Waldorf Astoria and the Grand Ballroom. And I had really my first speaking gig as an adult. So, I mean, big one, right? So that was awesome. And I thought, oh, I should absolutely do this full time. And then I reached out a little bit later on once Twitter had been introduced to Bob Berg, and said, hey, Bob, I've been a fan of yours forever. I've been sharing the Go Giver, since before there was such a thing called social media. And I was wondering, if I could interview you. And he's so gracious. He said yes. And then he invited me to his conference, where I met a bunch of new friends, including Rebel Brown, who you also met at my wedding. Yeah. And so that kind of really was the launch of my career. I decided at that point to drop the co-share space because I was really bad at managing people, and start teaching and training on LinkedIn full time. I started my LinkedIn business blog. There's an interesting little story there that we'll skip over regarding a man and a woman who wasn't me. And then because and then I started my own blog. Interestingly enough, when I did have that little pivot or reset, the second one, Jason reached out to me, Nate Kievman reached out to me, both on Twitter, both privately, both without knowing what had happened in my personal life, and said, hey, what are you doing? And so I did some projects with them, which allowed me to truly launch my own business. A couple of years after that, Wiley reached out to me and said, hey, want to write a book for us? And I'm like, yes, please. And then my editor, who was at Wiley, became an editor over at lynda.com. And so he said, hey, do you want to do a couple courses for lynda.com? And I said, yes, I will. And then lynda.com became LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't realize that still. Yeah. And if you have a premium account, people, you may not realize that you have free access to LinkedIn Learning. It's up in your toolbar on the far right. And they have a lot of the lynda.com content all merged in with the new content.
Yeah. And there's no time like the present. A lot of people are having extra time because they're not commuting or they don't have a job right now. And so there's no better time to make use of things like LinkedIn Learning to brush up on all your skill. And LinkedIn Learning's opened up several courses on time management, on remote learning, things like that. So everyone who's on LinkedIn can access them, not just premium accounts. So that's kind of really cool of LinkedIn. Good. Yeah. No. And then, so I happily did LinkedIn to Business, which was my old business and my old blog.
That's how I met you. That's how
exactly.
For you.
Well,
started watching all your webinars and all the things you were doing.
Thank you. So I did that for about 12 years. And then about 3 years ago, almost exactly, actually, what's today, the 2nd? Almost exactly 3 years ago, 3 of my competitors and I got together and created Vengresso, which is our new company, which was great because, again, I was at a pivot point where I was like, so tired of teaching and training on LinkedIn and so tired of doing it all myself, the marketing, I had a great assistant, Nicole, who's been with me, right? And Nicole's been with me for 10 years now. She's still with me. And, but I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And that was the perfect time, because that's when Mario and Bernie and Kurt came in, and we had a couple more people, but now it's just the 4 of us. And so, we created Vengresso, which to date is the world's largest digital sales transformation company. And it's cool. Oh, go ahead.
Give everybody an example of like who you work with, because you work with the bigger companies with the sales, but you also have products available to people who want to like work on their LinkedIn on a smaller scale. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, the bulk of our business, of course, comes from the enterprise Fortune, companies like CenturyLink and Oracle and AT&T, and actually, I don't know if we've signed that contract yet. And a lot of bigger, big fintech companies. We move sales teams of 25 or more through our training and coaching and online program, and it's really the only one like it out there. In that we combine online learning plus live coaching plus live training. We do it over a long period of time on a really substantial platform that allows for forums and questions and up-to-date updates and things like that. But we've got a simplified version of that, which is completely on demand, which is accessible to anyone who owns a business or is in sales. And the cool thing is, I mean, it's not cool that it's COVID-19, but we knocked it down. It's normally $500 down to our costs, which is $97. So
Wow.
yeah.
So that they can find that on vengresso.com?
Yeah, if you just go to vengresso.com, you'll see Mario and I at the very top. Like,
Okay.
we wanted to make it really easy for people to access selling with LinkedIn. And it's 9 hours of everything that you need in order to really be successful in sales on LinkedIn. And then we have a profile optimization program too, but not in competition with you, because I've actually referred individuals who want more, not only branding, but more more strategy around how to position yourself and how to engage. So
well, this is something I want to just kind of mention to people who are watching too, is that, one of the words, the first time I ever heard the word used, it was from you. And I know other people use it too. But like, even though we were in the same world, and even before you had Vengresso, we were doing very similar things, but we each had our own approach. We each have our own style. But you always said it's co-opetition, because when you're working online like this and you're working virtually, the whole world, I mean, I've got clients all over the world, as do you. Yeah. So that's what's been nice about this community. And I especially appreciate like Andy Foote and people like that who have pulled together LinkedIn experts group, is we're all very generous with one another. So, what you're doing with Vengresso is just not something I'm doing. And I would totally recommend it. Like if a company called me and wanted to do something on a big scale with sales and the profile and all that, I would be like, go to Vengresso. And I also, again, thank you for the referrals you've given me, because I do more of that personal branding, deeper level, personal story stuff with profile work.
And of course, we keep trying to pull Kate in, right?
Know.
Mario asked me like about once a month. So is Kate ready to join us?
Well, I'm flattered, but I'm still happy just being kind of on my own. And so I'm still there. Hey, listen, I've got my thing. There's a lot of people who are watching right now. So I want to just give a couple shout outs, if you don't mind. Okay. So my friend Vivian Infantino, a client of mine from Atlanta, Peter Goldfine, thanks. Linda Hamilton, she's a CPA in New York. Linda and I met through David Newman.
David,
yeah. So that was kind of cool. And somebody that you referred me to recently is Mimi Lichtenstein.
Yes.
She's on right now. And she said, she just wrote a message saying Viveka referred me to Kate, and she did. And she only lives like an hour away from me, and we're just staying in touch. So, all of this stuff all kind of works together. So, all right, well, let's jump into what we were going to talk about today, because I think that there are people, everybody's working from home and trying to figure out this social media landscape. I always say this when I speak in front of groups, and I borrowed this from Viv, and I always attribute it to you, is that LinkedIn isn't necessarily social media in the same way as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's an online professional network, and it's glommed into all the social media network. Yeah. But I always say it's not the place where you post food and puppies and kids unless you're a chef, a vet, or a teacher.
Right, exactly.
So, but right now is an understatement, crazy time for all of us. So I thought it might be helpful if we talked today for maybe 20 minutes or so about how people might want to be using LinkedIn right now. Now, one of the things that came out this morning that I was completely not prepared for is the job loss report right now is 6.6 million job claims made last week. I mean, that is just, it made me tear up. I just can't even believe where we're at. So, using LinkedIn for job seeking right now might be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But there's also opportunity, and like, this is a good time if you don't have much to do at home. You could pay attention to your profile and just make sure it's up to date. But as far as engagement, I wanted to talk about that. Yeah. So I did a little bit of research on this because I wanted to make sure we were pointed in our talk.
Yes.
Is, one of the things that's cool right now about everybody being from home is that more people actually are engaging on LinkedIn, but they're engaging on LinkedIn with a purpose.
Yes.
They're not just like scrolling through. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, we're spending more time on LinkedIn. I don't know if you've checked your who's viewed my
Mhm.
profile recently, but you
Fun.
probably noticed it's gone up. Exactly.
And my invitations to connect have
Yes, have also
skyrocketed.
exactly. So let's start with invitations to connect. First of all, you do not have to necessarily accept every invitation to connect if it's not going to serve you or them. Well, it'll probably serve them if they invited you, but if it's not going to serve your business in some way, shape, or form, if they're not your buyer persona, you don't have to accept the invitation to connect, but you can always just send them a message and still have a conversation.
Yep.
So you can bring people in and have those private conversations, especially when they invite you to connect, just by messaging them. So you want to make sure that you're making the most of every opportunity. Most of us have a little bit more time on our hands now. We're not commuting. We might have just lost our jobs. And so, start building those human relationships, and it's not buy my stuff. It's truly trying to connect on a human nature, which again, half of the people or more than half of the people at my wedding are our social media friends, because we connected on more than just a business level. So even though LinkedIn is a business network, it's okay to take it, to the human level, and private messages or invitations through messages is a good place to start doing that. So take a little bit more time, look at the people who are inviting you to connect. And conversely, if you want to start inviting people to connect, make sure to customize that message, and really reveal a little bit more of yourself in it if you can, rather than just coming across as business persona, buy my stuff.
Exactly. Oh my God. There's so much of that going on too. In fact, even though it's not related to the virus, I think we should take a couple minutes and talk about this. It's dry. I know it drives Mario crazy. He's done some funny videos about it. It drives all of us who use LinkedIn in a really legit way crazy, is that people are sending invitations to connect, and they're selling you something right out of the gate before they've even and a lot of those people don't realize they're using some automated tools, which actually go against LinkedIn's user agreement. Because they're kind of just spraying and praying, and they're throwing all this stuff out there. And some people are biting. And, that's a filter that you need to decide for yourself. Like, if you want to accept that invitation, they're going to sell you, and they're going to keep selling you. So if you click ignore, don't worry, they don't get a message that says, like, leave me the F alone.
Exactly. And what's ironic about those automated messages, like I got one the other day, and of course they're trying to sell their automation tool. And they're like, dear sir, I know, like, today I'm looking a little rough, but I think I still look like a woman. So it's, dear sir, I noticed that you're in the cleaning business too. We can get you great introductions and invitations and lead generation. And I'm going, what? No, you can't. Like, those people, I not only block them, I report them, because I
do too. I've started doing the same thing. And then some of them annoy me so much, especially the ones who are trying to sell me a LinkedIn engagement tool because I'm an online coach. I'm like, you have obviously not read even my headline, which says I'm a LinkedIn coach. So, I'm not going to anyway. And I've got a canned response that I keep on one of those desktop stickies.
Exactly.
And I feel like I'm doing a public service. I paste it in, and I'm very nice. I'm like, hi, I'm not going to accept you. And by the way, here's my thing. And it basically says, if you knocked on my door and you barged on in my living room, I would like throw you out as fast as I could. And this is the same thing.
Yes. I love that.
So
PSA.
I do. I totally do.
Well,
I think I'm going to make a video about it.
Yeah, exactly. No, that is awesome. And, there's a difference between automation and time-saving strategy. So a lot of people think that I automate because I do have several responses that I've already written that I use Text Expander for. And so, yes, will I reuse content? Of course I will. Will I reuse a reply or reuse an invitation or reuse a script? Of course I will. But I'm still reading each and every one. I'm still seeing who you are, and I'm still responding accordingly. So absolutely.
I want you to know I am listening to you. I'm trying to see what comments are coming in. And
okay, no problem.
My side's all wacky right now. So somebody asked, how do you block someone on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So when someone sends you an invitation to connect, you can just hit ignore. And when you do that, a little pop-up will come up, and then it'll say, do you know this person? And if you say no, it's kind of an automatic IDK or an I don't know. But if you and that gets reported back to LinkedIn. But if you want to make sure that you're blocking someone, you can go to their profile. And there's three little dots, both on mobile and on desktop. There's three little dots. If you click on there, you'll then have the option of unconnecting and reporting or blocking.
Right. One thing on the IDK, unless this has changed, so I'm asking you this question,
Yeah.
is sometimes you don't know somebody, but you don't necessarily want to click on I don't know, because that puts like a black check against them.
Exactly. And about 5, and they start having to, exactly.
Right. So you want to be careful. Like if it's somebody who's definitely doing that salesy thing and they're annoying you, then definitely do it, because they'll get reported. But if it's just somebody you don't know, but they're not being annoying.
Yeah, they're not being annoying. You just don't know them.
Just don't know them. It's not even that you can just ignore. You don't have to click the I don't know, and you don't need to block them, because you just don't, they're just not a good fit in your network.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's that's part of the filter process too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. And, and that's what drives me nuts about these automation. Like, they don't care. They just want their $500 or $1,000 a month or 2,000 or whatever. They don't care that eventually it will absolutely restrict your account, because eventually there'll be too many people going, I don't know you.
While
your annoying introduction message.
While we're on the restricting your account, I just had an interesting thing this weekend that's related. It's not the same thing with the what you're talking about, but one of the things that has bugged me for a long time is when people in their first and last name field, they put a designation after MBA, PhD, CPA, whatever. All of those things are valid, but you can put those in your licenses and certifications, but keep it out of the name field. So I had somebody who actually put this whole sentence after their last name, and it's really bad. So I contacted LinkedIn. And I said, what's this deal on this again? Because I keep hearing, that it can affect search, so that if you put a designation after your name and somebody goes looking for Viveka von Rosen, and she has Viveka von Rosen, MBA, then she might not show up in search because of the designation. LinkedIn said that's still true. It doesn't always mean that's the case. I think it's somewhat random. But don't put anything else. It actually goes against 8.2 of their user agreement.
Exactly.
And so it's just your first and your last name. Now, those PhDs and the CPAs and all the things you have, totally play them up. You have the opportunity in your education. You have your opportunity in the licenses and certifications.
Yeah. I'm not you're right. MBA, PhD, whatever does affect your search, but I'm not so fussy about that. What drives me up a wall, and there's someone out there who's a LinkedIn expert who's teaching people to do that.
I know.
10, 15 years ago, it helped to get you found on LinkedIn, and maybe it still does, but it absolutely goes against LinkedIn's end user agreement, and they will restrict your account. Because I did it. I was Viveka at LinkedIn expert von Rosen. And then I was Viveka von Rosen / LinkedIn expert, and they restricted me. Now, mind you, this is like 13 years ago, and I learned my lesson. And because I hadn't read the end user agreements like I should have. But don't do that. And whoever is teaching it, like, shame on you.
Exactly.
Like, either read the end user agreement or stop it.
Some people were putting their phone numbers in or their Twitter handle. I mean, all of that stuff will definitely get you shut down.
Yeah.
I would, but the designation, probably not as much, but if you risk having it affect search for people who are looking for you, why do it?
Right. Exactly.
So that's just kind of there.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the sharing on LinkedIn piece. So with people engaging on LinkedIn with more of a purpose now, I think what a lot of people are talking about, and certainly we're seeing it in all these online videos, and including our streaming right here, is remote working, because everybody's doing it. Now, people who are like wait staff and things like that, they can't be, but they might be surfing online to see what's going on. So if you have a LinkedIn account, first of all, just go back and show it some love and make sure it's fresh and updated.
Yes, exactly.
But but do you agree that people could go on and be talking about, like, this sucks, or this is hard, or, oh my God, I've never done this. How the heck do I use Zoom?
Right, exactly. Because it is, it's extremely relevant right now. I think you want to be aware of your audience. You want to be compassionate towards others. But yeah, if you've got a Zoom ninja trick, like touch up my appearance, or if you've got, or green screens or best mics or whatever, if you've got something that's helpful and useful, by all means, and even if it's not at all aligned with your brand, please feel free to share it, because we're here to help each other out. We were actually talking about this yesterday, right? All of us have gone through hard times before.
Yes.
I've already been through 2 that I already mentioned, right? 2 big pivots in my life, but we've never gone through all our hard times at the same time.
All over the world.
Globally, we are all going through the same thing right now at different degrees, certainly. Some people are dying. Some people have lost their homes. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people have lost some business. Some people are thriving, but we're all going through great shift. And so, yes, it is okay to talk about that. But like I said, be compassionate. I see a trend of, I'm more successful than ever, and you should follow my stuff because I can teach you how to be more successful than ever in these horrible times. That kind of rubs me a little. If you're being truly authentic about it, then great. But please keep in mind your audience and the point and where they are at. Now the other part of it is we have a little bit more time, whether we want it or not. And we can pivot. We can, like, for the people who, I know I was a waitress for ages, and but I was a writer, but I was not publishing. And so I was doing my wait staff thing. And so for folks who are in service industries who that's not what their dream job is, it's a really good opportunity now to not only learn and make the most of all of the amazing opportunities that are being shared. Like, there's so much free or reduced price offers out there right now. And we've got the time. And so now you can use LinkedIn to position yourself as the author or the musician or the speaker or the whatever it is that you've been dying to do in your heart. Like, I wasn't the LinkedIn expert when I created the handle LinkedIn expert. Like, no one was, right? Maybe Jason Alba and Reid Hoffman. But other than those 2, like, no one was, because it was 2006. And so I claimed it, and then I became it. And so now's the time to use LinkedIn and whatever social media you want to claim it and learn what you need to learn and access what you need to access in order to become it. And part of that, to go full circle, is sharing content that's, that helps to position you. But again, being very conscious of what other people are going through.
That's the most important piece. I also you made me think of something else, and it's something I talk about in my presentations, is using the word expert when you do something. So I did a talk last November to a big group of people, and I started my talk off differently than I ever have before. And I said, imagine that you are an expert, and you can almost see the whole crowd. There were like 125 people, and they're all like, and I'm like, do you think of yourself as an expert? And I just said, show of hands or whatever. People are like, oh God, no. And then one person goes, yep. And I said, great. I said, what do you do? And they told me what they did. And I'm sorry, I don't remember what it is. And I said, but what if I told you that when I think of the term expert is no more than somebody else. And there's always going to be somebody who knows more than you. But an expert is actually someone who's always learning. And like, you could hear this like, ooh, in the room. So if I asked you to think of yourself as an expert now, how would that make you feel? And they're like, I'd own it. And because we're all learning. So, like when you gave yourself the handle at LinkedIn expert and you say you became it, that totally makes sense, because it's not that you were saying, I'm a LinkedIn expert and nobody knows anything more than me. And I'm the best ever. But now granted, financial advisors who are registered representatives can't call themselves a financial expert because it goes against SEC regulations. So most of us don't have to worry about compliance. But, switch your thinking. I love that you referred to yourself as a LinkedIn expert. I loved what you said, and I became it.
Right. Yeah. And I consistently have to prove it's true, because
Yeah.
it does when people call themselves experts or gurus or what. I wouldn't call myself a guru, but
I
an
don't like that
expert or
term either.
guru or whatever, it does make people go, and
Yeah.
so you just have to continue to prove it over and over and over again in whatever way that, by doing
Part of being
interviews. Yeah. Interviews, write articles, do, video that showcases your talent while teaching and training other people to do whatever, so yeah, I still kind of gulp, but what I will say is it's been very good to me having that handle,
Yes, it has.
So,
if I type in LinkedIn expert, because I'm looking for one, you pop up on the first 50,000 million pages of Google.
Now, mind you, LinkedIn hates it, and they
Well,
won't
it was
give me
like
any
when I was
voice
naming
on
my
LinkedIn
business.
Live.
When I first started my business, I was Kate Payne Associates. That didn't tell anybody anything. And then I thought, you know what? I got to change my name of my business. And so I started playing around with domain names. Isn't that how we all decide what our name of our business is going to be in this day and age? Exactly. And standing out online. It's like, that's what I was trying to help people do by using their personal brand on LinkedIn. And so now, if somebody or asks Alexa, how do I stand out online? Guess what pops up first?
Kate will show you how.
So, that all makes a difference. So back to one of the things I thought was really interesting about people engaging on LinkedIn right now during this whole crisis thing is, a lot of people don't realize that hashtags are really robust on LinkedIn.
Yeah, they
you could search in your toolbar, in your LinkedIn search, you could search hashtag work from home, hashtag remote work, hashtag video conference. And then what will happen is your feed will turn into all of the things where that hashtag has been used, and you could find all kinds of content there.
Absolutely.
So you talk really well about hashtags on LinkedIn. Why don't you, give the spiel about them and why they're so effective?
Yeah, and hashtags are used just like they are on Instagram. I don't think Facebook so much anymore, but definitely Instagram. And they help to collate content for people. And so what's cool is, here's a little ninja trick. If you're going to be writing a post about, working from home, WFH tips, or hashtag remote working, if you actually go to the hashtag first, so you do a search on hashtag remote working, let's just say, on LinkedIn, in the main search box, what'll come up is what used to be called the communities, hashtag communities. Now it's just the timeline. But what you'll see is there's a little box at the top where you can start writing your post. And so if you actually write your post about remote working inside the remote working timeline,
there's a know that.
Yeah, a little ninja trick. There is a better chance.
You are the best with ninja tricks.
So I tested it the other day. I did one. I did a very similar post. One was a native video. One was a YouTube video. And usually native video does a lot better than YouTube video. But I took the YouTube video link, same content, popped it in I think it was hashtag WFH tips. And so working from home tips. So I put it in there and then did my usual 1,300 character write-up. And that one got 11 or 12,000 views. The other one that I just did my regular timeline with the native video, which should have done better, only got about 6,000 views. So definitely creating your content from the hashtag community seems, and this is very analogical, right? It was just it was just me trying one thing out, but that was for my one experiment. That seemed to be true.
That's great. I was on a call yesterday for I belong to eWomen Network, which is a global, women's entrepreneurial organization. And we had a woman on. Her name is Donna Cravata. She's from Long Island, New York. And the name of her company is Social Pivot PR. And she has a trademarked method called the Gather method, which is using social media in a very authentic human way. Yeah. Not just to throw up online. Yeah.
Don't stand up online, throw up online.
She had the best description of what hashtags are. Yeah. Hashtags are the campfire that everybody wants to gather around and talk about.
Love that.
Isn't that fabulous?
Love that. So, that is great. You're going to have to
I've
give me
always
her
tried.
name because I'm going to use it and have to attribute it to her.
Yeah, so her name is Donna Cravata, and
Donna
she's a
Cravata.
really nice woman, and she's got this
Awesome.
great methodology. But I loved it because people will be like, when I talk hashtags, especially if I'm speaking, I'll actually say to people, "Do you all really know what a hashtag is?" And most people are like, "No, I really don't," but they don't want to admit it, And I don't,
Right.
I don't blame them. I didn't know what it was really for a long time.
Yeah.
And I used to describe it as like a category or a topic.
Yeah.
But the campfire.
Exactly.
That's such a great visual, and I'm gonna make a slide, and I'm gonna attribute it to Donna Cravata till the cows come home.
Exactly. With a campfire with a hashtag sitting
Exactly.
in the wood is hashtag. That's perfect.
So I've got a question here from a friend of mine who's actually also a fabulous stylist. In fact, I'm just going to let you know, Viv. Her name is Vivian Infantino, and she was actually back in I think it was the 70s and 80s. She was a model for like Armani.
Nice.
In Italy and stuff. And she lives in Vermont. And so she's a makeup artist. So she says, as a makeup artist and stylist whose work has screeched to a halt,
yes,
due to law governing services requiring close contact, I can say that I picked up lots of online work, e-commerce work last year due to the fact that folks, men and women, want to look groomed, polished, and most importantly, professionally accessible online. How have you ladies handled this as you set yourself up for a live? I'm assuming you've done your own makeup, but how have you dealt with choices regarding what works for you? Oh, you're the perfect person for that question.
Yeah, no.
I've actually seen your desk in real life. You've got like lipstick. I mean, you've got everything.
Bad hair day, bad glasses. Like I can show up, man. Now I look stealth.
Put on your Prada glasses.
I just got rid of the Prada glasses. Okay. Those are these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm having a bad hair day, on go the Prada glasses. I'm having a bad makeup day, Prada glasses, hair. No, but realistically, I love that question, and it really is going to force people to think outside the box. And so I expect Vivian's already doing this, but if you're a hairstylist or a makeup artist, first of all, Zoom is your best friend, and so you need to be giving tips about how to groom. Okay, I'm a little oily today, and my dry hair shampoo didn't exactly do the job. So what's the best high pony? What makeup can you use to get rid of the? Clearly, I didn't do any of this today. That gets rid of the bags. And it's preparation H, by the way, folks. So what's gonna look good? I have on a shirt that's got green in it. And so if I have on just the shirt, because I use a green screen, my green screen starts to show through my shirt. Also right. So I was like, I better put on a black jacket, and that will make me stand out a little bit more. But yeah, if you're a stylist, if you're a makeup artist, if you're a hairdresser, please come over to my house. No.
No, Vivian's
please send me a message, because now is the time to help people look better. And a lot of people won't turn on the camera on Zoom. And maybe you do a whole series about why you need to turn on the camera. So I love that. For us, it's easy. We teach and train online. Our whole program is online. Yeah. It's the exception, not the rule, that we go and speak at live at a sales kickoff or something like that. So, I think I have 3 speaking gigs that got just pushed out. They didn't even get canceled. So it's not really affecting me so much, but there are definitely people out there. And I think that probably the same for Kate, but there are definitely people out there who just have to think differently. And then, for Vivian, like you're probably already doing this. A lot of it's going to be free content that you're sharing out there. And so you're just building your pipeline for when, we can touch again.
Exactly. I mean, I pay attention to, like, when I come on. All right. So I will admit, today, I don't wash and dry my hair every single day. Long hair, I have to, thank God.
Yeah.
So, but I did have, today was my hair day. So I always make sure my hair is going to be, where it's good. But I'm also bring up on a much smaller screen. So yes, I put on foundation because I have a light up here and I've got light coming in from the window and I've got another light right here. So I do put on foundation so I don't look shiny. I do put on lip stuff just so that it defines my mouth, I guess. Like I need to define my mouth because it's always moving. But and I also do my eyes. But the thing is, when I'm on, I don't glasses full time. This is how I normally am. But when I'm on and I'm looking in a studio, you got to understand, I'm looking at all kinds of things here right now. I'm also looking at my phone, and I need these for reading. So I also made sure, like when I bought glasses, I have glasses that have a blue coating on them,
Right.
Which helps keep the blue light off. And
also the glare, because like without it, now everyone's seeing my screen.
Right. So, but I've got like my lights angled so that doesn't happen too much. But I also got a glass with frame that doesn't like take over my face.
Yeah.
So, I think we all find our little tips. I don't go nuts on blush and all of that stuff because you can't really see it.
You can't see it anyway. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I learned a great tip from one of my makeup friends is if you use bronzer and you have a brush that's like a big blush brush, pinch it so that you like pinch the bristles and then dip it into your bronzer and then put it like right here.
Right here. Yeah.
And it contours your cheekbones to make your,
yes. I do that.
Yeah. That's another
good. Yeah. Yeah.
And Vivian said that our makeup is great, that we're very accessible.
Thank you.
All right. So let's just kind of start to wrap this up. Okay. In today's climate, you don't just have to post about business right now. Exactly. Don't, like a lot of people think people ask me all the time, is that all I should be posting on LinkedIn? Yeah. And I don't mean you need to be posting about business, but it's professional in nature.
Yes.
But right now is different. So don't hesitate, you certainly can talk about business. It's still okay because it is a professional networking, but post about lessons learned through this remote work. Yes. Post about shout out to your teammates. Yeah. Shout out to your clients and do like an app mention of them and shout out and basically just kind of share the love. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of our clients is Proofpoint, and I was doing a training yesterday with them, and we jumped over to their company page, and they're doing a phenomenal job, and this is their environment, right? Because it's a lot about online security and phishing and that kind of thing. So they're in their environment right now, but rather than being all serious, they have several kind of Brady Bunch pictures, and in one of them, they all have matching backgrounds. So they were going for the Brady Bunch look, and in the other one, they're all wearing hats.
That's fun.
Right. So here's an insurance company, essentially, that's having fun as much as they can. Yeah. In this very serious time, because there needs to be a little bit of levity. I popped into the private chat because I have no idea how to get this on the other. But one of my most explosive posts is just hashtag dogs of Vengresso, and what Vengresso is a company, so dogs of Vengresso, and joking around like, here are your new colleagues. What are they doing? Well, my colleague is lying at my feet right now. My colleague is begging for dinner right now. Right. My colleague is licking his whatever right now. So,
that's so funny.
Right. With pictures. And I stole it from Facebook, but with pictures of our pets, because, hey, we're at home with our pets right now. And so normally I wouldn't post a picture of my dog on LinkedIn, but extreme
right now times. I think that people are going to be forgiving, and I think some levity is warranted. And you and I were on another live last night, and we've all talked about, and again, I don't want to end on a super negative note, but things are going to get really bad in the next 2 to 3 weeks in our country, at least. And so we always need to remain aware of what's going on. Yes. One of the top things I learned in PR when social media came out was that, if you use a scheduler and you plan your content out a month, and there's a day where there's a natural disaster or a school shooting or something, and you're trying to sell a new mattress, you have no idea what that does to your reputation, even though you didn't mean to.
Yeah. So, that is a really good tip, is if you've got schedulers, like the second something traumatic happens, you go to turn them off.
I mean, I couldn't believe after 2 or 3 days when this really, when the shit really hit the fan, around March 12th, 13th.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a luxury car ad on. It was a Mercedes commercial. I don't know if you saw it. It's like a fortune teller. I don't understand even the logic behind this Mercedes ad. But anyway, she's fortune teller talking to a man and woman couple, and they're listening to her, and she's going, I see a 3-pointed star. And the guy turns to the right and he sneeze, and he goes back to talking. And then the wife goes, she goes, I think I see you in a Mercedes. And the wife goes, oh, I wish. And they go into this Mercedes commercial. And I thought, how, like, wouldn't you as Mercedes, when you heard this is going on and that people are sneezing because of COVID-19, would you even incorporate it into your ad? Wouldn't you call up the networks and go, stop the ad?
Here's something else. Here's our Super Bowl ad, please.
Exactly. So what's interesting is the ad went away, and I noticed it came back the other day, and they took out the sneezing part. But I still feel like it's tone deaf, because who is thinking about buying a luxury car at a time like this?
Right. Exactly.
You know, the Ford ads and the ones that are, or Toyota, that are saying, you know what, we're here with you, and we're going to forgive your payments, or we're going to, like, you don't have to pay for 6 months. You know what? That is relevant. That's what you should be doing.
Exactly. But GM, hey, we're making ventilators, and they're not even marketing that.
I know.
They're just doing it. Yeah. Yeah.
So those are big kind of examples, but just remember to be aware of the timing of what you're doing, given today and where we're going to be a week and 2 weeks from now. You know, maybe everybody is going to go quiet on LinkedIn for a while because it's just going to be sad. I don't know. But, you know, think outside the box a little bit. Don't be afraid to get a little personal and share stories, because we literally are all in this together.
Yep. Yeah. I'm seeing some wonderful, personal shares on LinkedIn video about people just like, sharing hardships and how they've gotten through it, and sharing personal, tragedies that are happening right now and what they're doing to get through it, and sharing resources. I mean, it's the time to be human more than ever. Yes. It was always time to be human, but now it really, really, really is.
Exactly.
Yeah. H to H.
So we're going to wrap up. We just got a comment from Linda Hamilton, my friend that's a CPA in New York City. She said, I signed up for Vengresso's on-demand course.
Oh,
I need sales training. So there you go. Yay. Yeah. So
well, you'll see a lot more of me then.
Anyway, Viveka, I can't thank you enough. I hope you and Alan and your dad are well, and I'm thinking of you all the time. And Bill sends his best, and I really appreciate you making the time to be here and have this coffee with Kate time.
Absolutely. And I can't wait till we can actually do this face to face again.
I know. Hopefully it'll be better than later.
I'm leaving. I know you plan on coming out here this summer, so I'm leaving that on the books, because you just.
I'm leaving it on the books too, because we'll get there one way or another. We might even have our new camper.
Yes.
Hashtag van life.
Hashtag van life. Awesome.
All right. Well, listen. Be safe and be well.
You too.
And if anybody has any questions, I will put the replay into the link on the posts on both Facebook and on LinkedIn, so you can see the replay there. And if you have, how do people get in touch with you, Viveka, if they have any questions?
Yeah. Google LinkedIn expert. If you do invite me to connect, just let me know that you saw me on this live with Kate today. Otherwise, it'll be a while before I get to it. And you can just go to Vengresso with one S. We are not soup, VENGRESO.com. And we've got a ton of information. If you actually go to vengresso.com/resources, we've got a ton of free stuff out there that you can use in your social selling journey.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right. I'm going to end the broadcast, and I'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.
Okay. I can never tell.